Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the Campagna T-Rex 16S, specifically their new performance model. In this review, we'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. We'll take it on a thorough drive and show you all of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, let her run. Being that I've never had the fortune of taking a solo ride on a motorcycle before, you can imagine my excitement when I was offered the chance to spend an entire day with a Campagna in both the T-Rex and V13R. While not a full-fledged foray into the world of two-wheel motoring, this is about as close as it gets. Having 3 wheels, an open cockpit, and the ability to sit 2 people side by side should be enough to raise anyone's curiosity. With a high-revving motorcycle engine, manual transmission, and an F1-inspired driving position, the T-Rex is built to perform and handle as good or better than many of the world's high-end sports cars, while delivering a unique driving experience unlike anything else I've experienced before. For those wanting more information on the V13R, I'll be covering that in a separate review. Once it's uploaded, I'll add the link to the top right-hand corner of this video. Founded in 1988, Campagna Motors is a Canadian company based in Quebec, just outside of Montreal. The T-Rex has been their bread and butter since 1995, but it wasn't until 2001 that they were offered for sale in the US, which has since become their biggest market. While it's certainly evolved over the years, including updated powertrains, streamlined manufacturing processes, and styling updates, the concept has remained quite intact. I'd say the closest competitor to the T-Rex is most likely the Polaris Slingshot, but you also have the more traditional Morgan 3-wheeler and even perhaps the Can-Am Spyder. Following a strategic partnership with BMW in 2012, in which they supply engines and various other components, Campagna launched the T-Rex 16S in 2013, followed soon after by the 16SP in 2014. The P stands for performance. It represents the track-honed T-Rex, raising the limits of both handling and control to make it even more of a capable track car. Both models are powered by a 1,649cc BMW inline 6-cylinder that delivers 160 horsepower at 7,750 RPM and 125 pound-feet of torque at 5,250 RPM. It's an oil and water-cooled 4-stroke engine with 2 overhead camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder. The compression ratio is rated at 12.2 to 1. Being that the whole vehicle weighs around 525 kilograms or 1,157 pounds, it's able to rocket to 60 miles an hour in about 3.9 seconds and pass through a quarter mile in 12.6 seconds. The power-to-weight ratio is 5.27 pounds per horsepower. Like BMW's K1600 series motorcycles, the T-Rex offers 3 different driving modes, including rain, road, and dynamic. Rain limits the engine's torque output for improved traction in slippier conditions, while road and dynamic offer different throttle mapping, increasing response respectively. Power is harnessed by a 6-speed sequential manual gearbox before being sent to the rear through a chain-driven final drive. How it works is kind of a blend between a conventional automobile and a motorcycle. You'll notice there is a clutch pedal and a console shift lever, but when it comes to changing gears, pulling the lever towards you upshifts while pushing it forward downshifts. Neutral is in between first and second gear. It takes a moment to get used to, especially with very little clutch travel, but honestly it's pretty straightforward. Aside from the car-like layout, the gearbox is essentially a carryover from BMW. The biggest difference with Campagna's application is that they incorporated a reverse gear, so you're able to back out of parking spaces with ease. It's a custom, electronically controlled mechanical system that's also routed through the console shift lever. You have to be in neutral first, but once you're shifted into neutral, on top there's a small silver button labeled R. Press that for a few seconds, engages reverse. Hold it once again for a few seconds to disengage it. Accelerating hard and traveling at higher speeds in this thing is almost indescribable. You're flying by the seat of your pants with plenty of wind flowing through your hair, and you're riding about 4 inches off the ground. It's a crazy feeling when you come up to a stop sign or a stoplight and some big truck pulls up next to you and their tires are right at your sight line. It definitely takes a little bit to get used to, but like I said, it's unlike anything else I've ever driven, and to be honest, it's the most fun thing I've ever driven. Those already familiar with motorcycles will undoubtedly be familiar with the high-revving nature of these kinds of engines. When you're sitting in an open cockpit with an engine behind your head that's screaming at 8,000 RPM, it's hard to think about anything else other than wondering about the kind of engineering that it takes to make such a thing possible. While this example has the standard exhaust system fitted by BMW, Akrapovich's street-legal carbon and titanium mufflers are optional. I can only imagine how amazing that probably sounds. An entry model T-Rex before options starts around $58,000, while the performance model commands an additional $6,000. Our tester with optional metallic paint, the protection package, and the travel package would sticker for just under $69,500. The 16 SP features a fully adjustable coilover suspension with an external oil reservoir, which not only allows you to tailor the car for varying loads, but you also gain the freedom to customize the setup for road and track conditions. Up front, there's double wishbones and a swing arm out back. With the chassis design, low center of gravity, weight distribution, and suspension, Campagna claims the T-Rex can hold upwards of 1.3 G of lateral acceleration. The 16 SP also gains a more direct steering system, courtesy of a shorter ratio rack and pinion, in order to enhance precision as it responds even quicker to your inputs. A flat-bottom Sparco steering wheel is also added for a racier feel. It's wrapped in Alcantara, measures 13 inches in diameter, and features grip bolsters at 10 and 2. The steering is completely unfiltered as there's no power assistance. Since it doesn't weigh much, low-speed maneuvers are much easier than you'd think. Out on the road, you know exactly what's happening with the front wheels. There's excellent road feel and a proper level of feedback. Much of its handling ability comes from the wide front track and plenty of rubber out back. The width actually makes the T-Rex a little over half an inch wider than the new Corvette Z06. The last major hardware upgrade for the performance model includes an upgraded braking system with internally ventilated, slotted and cross-drilled disc brakes and red calipers at each corner. The brakes aren't powered and there's no ABS or any form of electronic stability control. Stopping power is perfectly proportional to the pressure you apply. Like the steering, the brakes are communicative and easy to operate. It doesn't take much effort to stop even from higher speeds. Once pressure is applied, the 4-piston Willwood calipers are ready and willing to take speed off without hesitation. Even after repeated hard stops, the brakes never exhibited any fade. The 16 SP also adds stainless steel brake lines in order to maintain consistent braking performance in more demanding conditions, such as track days. Of course, there's a handful of unique styling touches that distinguish a performance model from a regular T-Rex. The most noticeable are these 11-spoke alloy wheels. They're available in a variety of finishes. Up front, you'll find 16-inch wheels with 205/45 tires and a single 18-inch wheel in the rear with 275/40 tires. Special performance logos can be found on the body and within the interior. More subtle though is the red performance backplate on the engine itself, a nice touch of detail. The T-Rex is born around a tubular steel chassis that forms a solid roll cage for added protection. The body panels are made from fiberglass. There's massive air intakes across the lower side panels, and even a snorkel perched on top of the roof that takes in additional air for cooling various components. The idea behind Campagna's early products was to give folks the impression of being in a Formula 1 racer. Climbing in is a multi-step process. First, you'll want to grab the roll cage, then sit on the threshold and swing your legs in. At that point, just lower yourself into the seat. Once you get the motions right, it's not that hard to climb in, but depending on how tall you are, especially folks over 6 feet, more care will likely need to be taken. The T-Rex is 42 inches tall at its highest point. It's 138 inches long and it rides on a 90-inch wheelbase. Overall width based on the front track is 78 inches. At 5 feet 10 inches, I still felt like I had pretty good headroom, maybe a couple inches or so at the very least. I can't comment on what it's like with a helmet though, as I didn't have one readily available. The most important thing to note when climbing into the T-Rex is to make sure you remove the steering wheel, otherwise it's hard to get your legs in just right. All you have to do is press a small release button, grab the collar behind it with both hands, and slide it off. To install it back once you're seated, simply place the wheel back on the column and rotate it slightly until it locks in place. This example also has the optional protection package, which adds the carbon fiber protective pieces across the entry thresholds, in addition to the inclusion of an outdoor cover. The seating position is an instrumental part of this unique experience, as you sit but mere inches off the ground with your torso tilted rearward and your legs stretched nearly horizontal in front of you. Adjustments are limited to the seat backs and pedal box. The latter is able to slide forward or backward. You then insert a pin into the metal track rod to secure the pedal box in place. The handbrake is controlled by a lever adjacent to your left leg. General ergonomics are good, as everything still remains within easy reach, despite the seating position. You wouldn't necessarily consider something like this to be comfortable, but the seats did contour my body pretty well, and there's decent padding. The suspension also had just the right amount of give without making it too soft. Again, in the performance model, all of that is adjustable. As expected, visibility is quite good, as there's nothing really to get in your way. The T-Rex actually has a lot more features than you might think. Along with a 4-speaker 180-watt Alpine sound system, there's Bluetooth audio streaming, and within the open storage compartment on the right-hand side of the dash, USB and aux ports, and a 12-volt power outlet. The instrument cluster is from BMW as well and features a high-res digital display that shows your current gear, temperature, fuel level, clock, and a comprehensive driver's information system. In the center of the dash is a handy control stack. The audio system, drive modes, and driver's information system is all controlled here. The large rotary dial, in addition to controlling audio volume, also provides some iDrive-like functionality when it comes to toggling between menus and options within the driver's information system. The T-Rex is offered with your choice of 16 exterior colors. Interior colors, though, are limited to black and gray in the 16S and 16SP respectively, while red upholstery is an option for both models. Aside from the small open compartment in the dash, there's not much storage space in the T-Rex. If you plan on taking it for an extended trip, I'd highly suggest opting for the travel package. Not only does it add a partial windscreen and passenger side footrest, but it also adds a pair of saddlebags that mount up on either side of the engine. Not only are they lockable, but they can even be removed if you want to take your stuff with you. A special key is supplied for the bags to unlock them. They offer a decent amount of space for clothes, toiletries, or any other relatively small necessities. So now let's go ahead and see how she sounds, both sitting still and on the road. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Campagna T-Rex 16S Performance. Be sure to stay tuned next time and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.